Today I'm working on my version of oven fries, and for that you need 3 russet potatoes, which you need to peel. And now this recipe for oven fries is one I developed good 18, 19 years ago when I was kind of new at America's Test Kitchen. And I'm pretty proud of this little recipe. It really has stood the test of time, and it's a great way to cook home fries. They get nice and crisp, but not too greasy. And I remember trying different kinds of potatoes. I kind of like Yukon Golds, but everybody else in the test kitchen really wanted that flavor, that deep, hearty flavor of the russet, so that's why you should use russets. You want to buy russets that are even in size, you know, about 8 ounces each. All right, so that's 3 potatoes, nicely peeled. All right, so to cut the potatoes for oven fries, we're gonna cut them into wedges. That's 2 nice flat sides that can get good and crisp in the oven. Depending on the potato shape, you can get anywhere from 10 to 12 fries per potato. So what you wanna do is cut it in half lengthwise, then quarter it, and then you can kind of gauge how big you want the fries to be. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Oh, this is definitely a 3 fry quarter right there. So you see when you're done, they're kind of like steak fries. They have a nice big flat surface that sits on the baking sheet and gets good and crisp. All right, so into a bucket they go while we cut the rest of the potatoes. All right, last wedge of potatoes here. Into the bucket they go. Now I'm putting these in a bucket because one of the keys I found to this recipe is soaking these wedges before you cook them for 10 minutes in hot tap water. That just helps the starches on the outside start to dissolve and makes them nice and crisp. So into the sink these go, covered with hot water. The fries are out of their hot water bath and it's time to get them ready for the oven. You notice I drained them and put them on some layers of paper toweling. Drying them off is really important or else they won't brown in the oven. And the whole point to giving a good oven fry is to get them to brown. All right, so now I'm gonna put them into a nice big bowl. Using the paper towels as a sling. Now I'm just gonna toss these with a little bit of vegetable oil just to get them nice and coated. About a tablespoon. The key to getting them brown is not only getting them dry, but also making sure they're nicely coated with oil. Also, how you prep the pan really matters here. Now, if you notice, this is a non-stick pan. If you have one, now's the time to pull it out because the potatoes won't stick, obviously, but the darker surface will help the potatoes brown. All right, now I'm gonna add about 4 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Now, I developed this recipe, I tried all different amounts of vegetable oil because if you're making oven fries, you kind of want to watch the oil. Some people like to use less. Can't do less than 4 tablespoons or it won't evenly coat the bottom of the pan. And then you get some fries that really aren't crisp. So you want to spread the veg oil out all over the pan. Now, one last trick is to put the salt and pepper right onto the pan, not onto the potatoes. So I'm going to add 3/4 teaspoon of table salt. You want to sprinkle it evenly over the pan, just like this. It's half a teaspoon, 1/4 teaspoon. Same with the black pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. By doing this, you're really helping ensure that the potatoes don't stick, especially crucial if you're not using a non-stick pan. Because if you think about it, the salt and pepper are almost acting like little ball bearings under the potatoes, so they don't stick to the pan so much. All right, now time to lay the potatoes onto the pan. Take your time here, flat side down. I think it's easier if you get them all going in the same direction. That way when you flip them over, it's just easier to maneuver them. If you have thinner ones, put them towards the middle. Put any guys that are on the thicker side towards the outside. All right, the potatoes do shrink as they cook in the oven, so it's a little tight to start. You might have to squeeze a few on the edges. One more, I can fit it in here. There we go, over here. All right, so they're lined up like little soldiers ready to get roasted. Now the roasting time for these potatoes can range anywhere from 25 to 40 minutes, depending on the pan, depending on your oven. But for the first 5 minutes or so, you wanna cover them with aluminum foil. My aluminum foil is a little on the skinny side, so I have to use 2 sheets. So you wanna wrap these in foil. That just traps the heat so the potatoes can steam and cook through. But then we'll take the foil out so they can get good and brown. All right, ripping hot oven, 475 degrees, right on the lowest rack again to concentrate the heat on the bottom of the pan. All right, here are some potatoes that have been cooking for 20 minutes. Time to take a look. Wait till I flip them over. Oh, that is an oven fry. Are you kidding? Getting that level of browning is really hard to do in the oven. That's why the nonstick pan helps, using all that oil, and the bottom rack of the oven. So we're just gonna flip these over. You can see what a difference that nonstick pan makes. Ooh. The ones that get a little dark on the edges, like I said, if you have thicker ones, put them on the edges, because the edges will get a little more brown than the interior. And those are my favorites, the ones that are a little on the dark side. Welcome to the dark side. All right, that's it. They're all nicely flipped over. Back into the oven they go. Again, another 5 to 15 minutes till that second side is good and brown. All right, those fries are done. Look how crisp they are. You can hear it. Ready? That is an oven fry. Hard to believe you can get them that crisp. Now, my oven fries, they get a range of colors. Some are really dark. Those are mine. Like those burnt potato chips are my favorite. This is the fry version of those. The ones in the middle that are more evenly cooked, those are for my daughter. All right, so onto a paper towel lined tray just to get rid of any excess oil. Oh. All right, light golden for my daughter. Medium golden for Ian. Extra crispy for me. Oh, this one, oh, that's gonna be the best fry of the bunch for me. Crispy fry. Best oven fries you can make. Thanks for watching. What'd you think? Leave a comment below and let me know what you're excited to cook this week. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button. You can get today's recipes and more for free at our website, americastestkitchen.com/JuliaAtHome.